I'm Shannon.
And I'm Holly.
And this is a Girls Gone Curious podcast, where we talk about things that make us curious. So grab your favorite drink, sit back and relax because your show is loading. Today's episode includes the following trigger warnings: mentioning topics of stalking, asphyxiation, strangulation, suicide, and murder. This podcast is not suitable for children. Please listen with care. This is part 22 of 50 States, 50 Cases. Today we will be covering the states of Texas and Utah. We apologize if we say any of the names or places wrong in today's cases.
Today's first case will take place in the state of Texas. On Halloween night in 2020, in Hemp Hill, Texas, a town with just over 1,000 people, a young woman was found in her car dead, shot through the neck by a rifle. A man was found in the fetal position behind her car, passed out. When he woke up, he claimed he had no memory or any idea how he got there. Livye Lewis, also known as Liv, was born on October 4th, 2001, in Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana. Her life would be taken from her on October 31st, 2020, in Hemp Hill, Sabine County, Texas. Although she only lived 19 years, she accomplished many things in those years. She was said to be a beautiful ray of sunshine that shined through her eyes. Many people said to know her was to love her. Just walking into a room, it lit up from her smile. She loved to make people laugh, and when she would laugh, it would be a laugh that you could never forget. Livy had a huge passion for taking care of others. She was confident, determined, tough, independent, fearless, all while being graceful and kind. Wanting to make the loved ones around her proud, she was very self-driven. Spending her time enjoying the little things and being around family and friends. Livy lived life to the fullest with no regrets. In school, she was a straight A student, earning a scholarship to the local college. She had already spent 2 years as a CNA at HCC, helping at a local nursing home. Her dream was to become a nurse and then a physician's assistant. While working at a nursing home, she met a friend, Taylor Barnett. She said, "We worked together, and then she just started staying with me all the time. If you seen Livy, you seen me. We just clicked, like automatically." Taylor was 6 years older than Livy and had a younger daughter. Bailey Williams, a girl who knew Livy since kindergarten, said, "She was a person that wanted stability and didn't want to play, like the kid games. She was ready to be grown up." Records show that Livy began seeing a man around November 2019. Taylor, Livy's friend, was seeing a man, and he had a friend named Matthew Edgar. So a lot of the time, they were all hanging out. When Livy was still a senior in high school, she began a secret relationship with Edgar. At the time, he was 23 and married to Montana Backel with 2 young sons. Sometime in November 2019, Edgar texted Livy, You do realize you cannot say a word to anybody that we're even texting, LOL. Livy would respond with, well, obviously, I'm not going to brag about texting a married man, but thanks for the clarification. This relationship would be a very short affair, Livy ending things. 4 months later, Edgar would text her again, saying how unhappy he was, texting her, I cheated again. Livy would respond with, I'm not really down for being a homewrecker. 2 months later, Edgar would end his marriage with Montana, texting her saying, ain't you, it's me. Me always cheating on you. And that's literally all he texts.
He asked, that's how he wanted a divorce, was saying by texting her?
Yeah, it says, ain't you, it's me. And then in another text, he said, me always cheating on you. 4 days later, Montana would hire a divorce attorney, and Edgar would move out and try to, and eventually get back together with Livy. In the beginning, the relationship between Livy and Montana didn't seem very good. I mean, you have Montana, who is a mother of Edgar's 2 boys. Then you have Livy, who he cheated with on Montana. You wouldn't think they would get along. That was how it was at the start. But one day, Montana switched it up and said she wanted to be friends with Livy. Darcy Bass, Livy's mom, believed that Livy thought her and Montana were friends, but in Montana's eyes, it was just jealousy. At some point, Taylor said that she believed Edgar was abusive to Livy. While both Livy and Edgar were living with Taylor, he would always get drunk and yell at Livy. Their relationship was like a roller coaster. While Edgar would text, I love you and good night, Livy would be texting, I don't know why you keep putting your hands on me like that, and my body hurts today. Livy's plan was to move away into college dorms for the upcoming year, but then decided to move in with Edgar and help take care of his children. August 2020, Livy sends a text to Edgar. I want to be in our home with you, but I can't do the way you act when you drink. And she also texted, you've laid your hands on me multiple times. I deserve better than that. While talking to her cousin Sydney Ebarb, Livy sent messages of herself with a busted up nose. Sydney had been in a physical abusive relationship as well, so what I'm assuming is Livy was looking for comfort in her, maybe getting advice on what to do, or maybe she only felt comfortable telling Sydney. October 4th, 2020, on Livy's birthday, Edgar sent a text to Montana saying, I didn't cheat on Livy with multiple women, just you, LOL. I believe that after this, Livy broke up with Edgar. The night of October 31st, 2020, there was a party held at Edgar's friend Bobby Ozen's house. It was said there was a lot of drinking, about 20 or so people there, including Livy, Montana, Edgar, and their 2 sons. Why you'd bring your 2 sons to a Halloween party where there's drinking? Mm-hmm. No idea. Edgar would say, after drinking and seeing Livy ignoring him, he left, heading home, and doesn't remember anything after that. Livy was found around 5:15 a.m., dead in her car, draped over her steering wheel. A bypasser stopped and noticed her unresponsive and called 911. A truck was parked behind Livy's car. Edgar was found behind her car and in front of the truck, passed out, laying in the fetal position. Near him laid a rifle, shoes, and a hat. He had blood on his face and arms. An ambulance came to take him to the hospital to check for any injuries. McDonough, a detective, received a call around 6 a.m. saying he needed to head to the hospital to question a suspect. Once to the hospital and after no injuries on Edgar were found, investigator J.P. McDonough began asking him questions. First asking the obvious question, how did he get there and what happened? Edgar claimed the last thing he remembers is drinking at home on his porch, then waking up in an ambulance. He had no idea how he got there. McDonough asked if he had a girlfriend, and Edgar responded with, "Yeah, kinda. I got an ex-girlfriend named Livye." Edgar would call the relationship with him, Montana, and Livye awesome. He said the last time he saw Livye was at the party Bobby had at his house. McDonough would tell Edgar that a dead girl was found by him. He asked who, and McDonough responded with Livye. McDonough didn't believe anything that Edgar was saying or doing. He believed he was pretending to not know anything. He would say that Edgar was forcibly crying and he didn't see a single tear drop. The worst of it is, Darcy, Livy's mom, found out through a friend calling her. All the friend told her was that Livye had been shot, not knowing if she was alive or dead. Darcy would show up to the crime scene, being a small town, and she would begin yelling and screaming, asking where her daughter was. Eventually, a person, I don't know if it was an officer or someone else, tells her that her daughter is dead. In one of these videos I watched, you can see her just fall to the ground and begin sobbing. It is really heartbreaking. McDonough would keep questioning Edgar, trying to figure out what exactly happened. Edgar would say that he was drinking pretty heavily that night. A bottle of Jim Beam and a few beers. But after leaving Bobby's and getting home, he doesn't remember anything. They would swab the blood on Edgar's face and take the clothes he was wearing in for evidence. McDonough would explain to Edgar that he was going to be arrested for homicide. During all of this, he was showing no emotion, or what looks like no emotion showing. Police would have 90 days to present enough evidence to indict Edgar. If they weren't able to prove this evidence, he would be released on bond. An old friend of Edgar, Sean Dunn, said, "I know Matthew. I spent a lot of time with him. He was a hard worker, you know. He loved his family. He valued his friendship with people." Sean was a former Texas oil and gas man who employed a 20-year-old Edgar on pipelines. He was also a previous deputy sheriff and he believed Edgar was innocent. He would say, "When you're in law enforcement and you sit across the table from somebody that has taken someone's life as a cold-blooded killer, there is a certain feel that you get from that person. I never seen him reach that point." While in jail, a call happened between Edgar and his mom, Sydney Hogan. Sydney said, "But I'm saying, Matthew, if it turns out that Montana did this." Edgar said, "I don't want to talk about it, please." Sydney said, "I mean, it's not gonna make you want to hurt her because she killed the women you love, are you?" Edgar said, "I don't know." That to me is just a whole weird thing going on.
Definitely.
The last photo of Livy alive was one of her and Montana at that party at Bobby's house. While interviewing Bobby, he said that Edgar spent the whole night watching Livy and Montana party together, and party with everyone except him, which looked like it made him angry, and it caused him to drink more. Livy broke up with him a few weeks prior, and he began seeing another young girl. The girl said that he and her met one day, and they just began having sex after that. I believe she also said that they wouldn't meet up every day and basically have sex. While Montana was interviewed, she said that after Edgar left, he would come back around 2:30 a.m. He would overhear that Livy was staying with Bobby at his house, meaning she was going to stay there and sleep with Bobby. This enraged him, and Montana said he began taking his anger out on her. Montana said that he began choking her, and somehow got free and then ran into the house to get Bobby. Bobby said that when he came out, Edgar was punching and kicking Montana's car. In the pictures of her car, there are multiple dents and marks on her car. Bobby said at one point he had to hold down Edgar so Montana and Livy could get in their cars to leave. He said that while holding Edgar, he was saying, "I'm gonna kill y'all." Montana left and headed towards Edgar's mother's/grandparents' house. I couldn't find where Livy was heading, but I'm assuming it was in the opposite direction. Edgar would follow Montana. Eventually, they both stopped at his mom's house. This is just a side note. His mom and grandparents live in the same house, so they live together. This is where things get a little confusing, at least confusing to me. Montana said she got out of her car, and that's when Edgar began choking her. This was happening all while their children were in the back seat. She said that she began honking her horn to get someone to come out, and while doing this, he just stopped and left to head back to his house, which was on the same property a short distance away. Once inside the home of Edgar's mom and grandparents' house, she began texting Edgar. Edgar texted her, "I don't give a fuck, you took part in it and you're guilty as she is. You will die." Montana responded with, "Took part in what?" Edgar said, "Her fucking Bobby." Montana said, "I was leaving to go home." Edgar said, "You knew though." Montana said, "She is a grown-ass fucking woman." Edgar said, "I will take Your life, her life, and his life. Mark my words. At 3:22 a.m., Edgar texted Montana, I'm leaving. Better get here and get your kids. So this is a confusing part to me because Monica left her kids in the care of Edgar when she felt she wasn't safe around him herself.
Yeah, and she said that he was choking her while she was in the car, but the kids were in the back seat. So I'm like really confused.
Well, she said she got out of the car, he came up to her, started choking her.
Mm-hmm.
But then she says she was honking the horn, trying to get attention to someone to come out and help her. But then all of a sudden he just stops.
Yeah.
And goes to his house.
Yeah. And she, after he chokes her, she lets the kids go with him.
Yeah, this makes no fucking sense to me. And it gets even weirder. More confusing. Because that's fucking great.
Yeah.
12 minutes later, Montana receives a text from Edgar. It said, I'm home. I got Livye's keys in her phone. Montana responds, where is she? Edgar said, dead. Montana tells police that the reason why she didn't call police was because she didn't believe him. She didn't take him seriously. Montana would text Edgar saying, can I come down there? He would respond with, yeah. But Montana doesn't go to his house because she claims that his mom was stopping her from leaving. So she just fell asleep and then woke up around 6 a.m. to the news about Livye. But like, your kids are apparently with him and you just let it be.
Mm-hmm.
And you know he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I'm leaving, you better come get your kids. And she doesn't.
Yeah.
Makes no fucking sense to me. Police did give her a polygraph test, and I believe it was about 2 months after everything happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they told her that she didn't pass. But while investigating the crime scene, police said they didn't find any evidence that Montana was at the scene of the crime. McDonough's theories goes like this. Edgar met up with Livye on the side of the road in his own truck with a rifle. Evidence shows that she was talking to someone she was comfortable with because of the way her body was positioned and that her legs were crossed. And usually when your legs are crossed, you're not like in a fight or flight scenario. He took this moment to shoot Livye. Getting back into his car, he drives home only to get into his cousin's truck and drive back to the crime scene, where he was later found. McDonough believes the motive to be jealousy. February 2021, COVID hit hard, closing down the court. The judge was forced to release Edgar, who was unindicted, on a $50,000 bond. While on bond, Darcy ran into him at the convenience store and basically attacked him, saying, "You killed my daughter." Edgar pressed charges against her, but eventually they were dropped. March 16th, 2021, a grand jury heard the evidence against Edgar and indicted him for the murder of Livye. January 24th, 2022, the trial began with a jury selection. Livye's phone was found in Edgar's truck, and her keys were found in the driveway of his mom/grandparents' house. It was indicated that Sydney, Edgar's mom, tried to keep the keys from the police. She also made a suggestion that Livy was actually killed by the drug cartel because Edgar owed them drug money. The state's case against Edgar included a speck of blood found on his pants that was, in fact, Livy's blood. His defense claimed that the speck could have been from any time, and it doesn't prove anything. Rob Hughes, Edgar's defense attorney, said, "You can get DNA transferred from just touching someone."
Which is true, but blood?
Yeah. Rob also mentioned that there was evidence of multiple other DNA from different people, but it wasn't looked into. Like the blood found on Edgar's face and other DNA found on Livy's body. They weren't Edgar's or Livy's DNA, so they didn't test any further. I don't know if this is 100% true or not. This is what came from the defense side. I would assume it would be true because I can't imagine that they would lie about that.
Well, and there could be multiple samples of DNA just because with touch DNA and they were at a party dancing and hugging people or whatever, so.
But the thing is, that's weird to me. The blood found on Edgar's face was not Livy's blood or his own blood.
Yeah, that is pretty weird, so it does make me wonder. I mean, the police, I assume, would have talked to everybody at the party, so everybody else was accounted for?
Yeah, I don't know. On one of the days of trial, Rob was getting ready to head to court when he received a call from Edgar's mom, Sydney. She was claiming that Edgar was just gone, that he ran away. Rob continued the planned trial without Edgar. At the time, the jury didn't know that Edgar had run away. They deliberated for about an hour and a half before coming back with a guilty verdict. Police said Edgar had waited until his ankle monitor died before running away. There was a rumor that went around town that Sydney was buying her son's favorite cigarettes and alcohol in large quantities. This made people think that he was still in the area. Darcy was a little scared and worried that Edgar would come after her. It took nearly a year before police would find Edgar. And honestly, he was hiding in plain sight. A tip came in saying that Edgar was hiding at a family friend's house, only short distance from his mom and grandparents' house. This house was surrounded by wooded area, and law enforcement said they wouldn't be able to do anything until they had physical eyes on Edgar. A group of 3 men would use nighttime as cover to try to ID Edgar. They would hide in the woods, getting as close as possible and wait. Eventually, a man would come out and go to his backyard, and they were able to confirm that it was Edgar. Police would swarm the house and arrest Edgar on December 29, 2022. Edgar was sentenced January 3rd, 2023 to 99 years in prison with the possibility of parole in 30 years. Edgar's mom was found in the house at the time of Edgar's arrest. She claimed not to know anything and didn't even know Edgar was there.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Sydney would be arrested for hindering apprehension. Her bond was set at $20,000 and was later released post-bond. She is still waiting her trial.
Think she's gonna disappear like her son did?
She fucking might. Livy Lewis was a daughter, sister, granddaughter, niece, cousin, and a friend. Her mom created a memorial site where Livye passed, and she visits it almost every day. Now, I have quite a few questions.
Yeah.
Because this story does not make fucking sense to me. So, one of the big things to me is, if he wasn't guilty, why did he run?
Exactly.
Because he knew he would be guilty.
Yeah.
I mean, he was found at the crime scene.
Yeah.
And then the texting. Montana asked where she was, and he said dead. I don't know. That's pretty convincing evidence right there.
Yeah. And before that, he threatened to kill Montana, Bobby, and Livye.
Yeah. All together.
Yeah.
And that gives me the other question. Was Montana involved?
That's kind of weird. Like, it kind of seems like she's acting friendly towards Livye, acting like nothing happened. And then...
But basically does the opposite of what Livye did to her. To me, that feels like payback.
Yeah.
Or it's like, you know, I'm the original and he'll always go back to me. Type of.
Yeah, that type of situation, yeah.
And what about the other DNA?
Yeah, I don't understand why that wasn't looked into, regardless if that wasn't, like, it didn't match the blood, but they're not going to look into it more to see what the heck else was it.
There could have been a third person involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, I do believe that Matthew did it. Edgar. I believe he did it.
I do too. I think because you did say it was a small town, right, of like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Maybe they just didn't have the resources to
figure it out.
Yeah, to go into all of the extra details that were in this case.
But I mean, the main detective, McDonough, he basically was like, this dude was found at the crime scene. He's the guilty one. Yeah. It almost seemed like he almost had blinders on. Like, it is him and no one else. Yeah. For a while, they did believe Montana was involved. That's why they made her take a polygraph test. And
but if she failed it, like, what questions did they ask her? Yeah. Why do they believe? I mean, we know the reasoning why people don't pass polygraph tests, even though they're not 100%. But still, like, if they gave her a polygraph test and she didn't pass it, and they're like, well, she's not guilty. It's like...
Yeah, it's like they had specialists come in and redo, like, search the crime scene and work on evidence for, like, months or something like that, and they didn't find anything connecting Montana. Which is like, are you 100% sure? Because, I mean, they were partying together before, so there had to be probably DNA of each other.
Was there DNA of Montana on Livye? Yeah. And the text messages, too? Yes. Like, so, I don't know. A lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah. Well, especially with, I just don't get why Montana would leave her kids in the care of someone who was literally choking you. Yeah. Yeah, that part doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And then I don't believe her with saying that Edgar's mom wasn't letting her leave. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either.
How did it take that long to find him?
Yeah. I mean, one of the first places you would think to look, or at least I would think to look, is family and friends. Like, where are they hiding them, that kind of thing. But like I said, once again, it's a very small town, so they might not have had very many resources. But also, as a small town, you have the community that is a resource. We've both been a part of a small town. Yeah. Everybody's nosy. Yes. Me included.
I do want to mention that They did bring in outside people to come in and help with this case.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Coulter, he was an Eastern Special Deputy with Marshal Services. After about a week of Edgar missing, basically he came in and took over the case to find Edgar. And he was he was one of the 3 men that were hiding out in the woods waiting to spot him.
Oh.
So they did have help from outside of their small town, but I don't know if they had help with like the case or just finding Edgar.
Oh, okay.
Did Montana want to be friends with Livy just to hurt her by getting together with Edgar? We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier.
I think so. I don't think it was
want to be true friends.
Right. Yeah.
The old friend of Edgar, Sean Dunn, he ended his interview kind of saying, I never seen him reach that point, which is weird to me that he picked that saying.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say he's never been like that?
Yeah.
Why would you say reach that point? So he was heading there?
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought when I heard that is, okay, so he's definitely led you to believe that he actually could reach that point.
Yeah. Well, not to mention, if a loved one is physically abusive to you, their home life and work life is completely different most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
They have completely different personalities.
Yeah.
Where you would never know he or she was physically or emotionally abusive.
Right.
But yeah, that's just weird.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And the other thing that kind of enraged me a little bit is that he said his relationship between the 3 of them was awesome. Did he think it was awesome because he was sleeping with both of them?
Oh, absolutely. But it definitely wasn't. I mean, you can tell that in the text messages from both Montana and Livy.
Like, literally, the night before, he was angry.
Mm-hmm.
And basically upset that Livy and Montana weren't talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day he's like, oh yeah, our relationship's awesome.
Yeah, clearly he's lying.
Yeah. And he's also fucking another young girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my actual last question. I was curious, why was Livy staying with Taylor?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, why wasn't she with her mom?
Yeah. I don't know if her and her mom don't have the best relationship or if there's family issues in there. Not saying that there is. But it just gave me weird vibes, I guess, that she and Edgar were living with Taylor. Yeah. That's just weird to me. Yeah. That's what I thought too. Yeah. I get it if she were to move out and live with Edgar. Yeah, that happens a lot. You just want to be with that person. But, like, that's weird that she would go to a friend's house to live with her boyfriend.
Yeah, I agree. And did Taylor give any information as far as how he treated Livy? Because Taylor also had a child as well, right?
Yes. She has a young daughter.
So I kind of wonder about that as well.
I believe Taylor said that she believed Edgar was abusive.
Oh, that's right. You did say that.
Because he was always drinking around her and always yelling at her. So I know Taylor believed that he was abusive.
Okay.
There's just a lot of questions on this case.
And even though they convicted him, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. And I think a lot of it stems from the fact that it is, maybe they didn't have enough, or maybe they do, they just don't have enough, and maybe it was his mom, and that's going to be brought up in her trial.
Yeah, I don't know. But Livvy's mom, Darcy, did say when Edgar is up for parole, she's gonna be, she said, if she's still around, she's gonna be there.
Absolutely.
And Taylor and her other friend said that she's not gonna be alone and they're gonna be right there by her side.
That's good.
I really hope he doesn't make parole.
Yeah, me too.
He's in his late 20s.
Yeah.
So he's going to be living for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there is almost like a third person.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's kind of leading me to believe. And that's why I kind of wonder if some of the information hasn't been released yet, because it's going to be part of the trial that's coming up.
Yeah, that might be true.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever that does come up, we will update.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We have a couple of cases that we're hoping will get updates eventually.
Mm-hmm.
We might not. Some of them might not get updates, but there are some that probably will have updates.
Yeah, hoping so. Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the Alicia Owens case with Iris.
Yeah.
That will be an update because she hasn't been sentenced yet.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Today's second case will take place in the state of Utah. Logan, Utah in the 60s wasn't a small town, but to many it had that small town feel. The Weber family was one such family. Tanya K. Weber was born on November 10th, 1947, in Idaho Falls, Idaho, to parents Sterling Lawrence Weber and Marion Elizabeth Clark Weber. Tanya was the oldest of 5 children at that time. Her siblings included Clark, Rhonda, and Stephen. The siblings not listed, I could not find the names of the other children. Tanya was 17 years old and attended Logan High School. Tanya was full of hope and kindness. Many described her as the mentor to many and a guiding light, especially to her sister Rhonda. Rhonda and Tanya were close, and Rhonda looked up to her big sister very much. On June 26, 1965, there was excitement in the air. Tanya was going to hang out with her friends today. Her parents and siblings went out of town for a family reunion in Idaho. Tanya stayed home so she could go to a wedding with her friends. Later that day, that is what they did. They danced, they laughed, and all had a great time at the wedding. Tanya even caught the bouquet. After leaving the wedding, Tanya and her friends decided to stop and grab a bite to eat at a local pizza place. From there, they would drop Tanya off and head home. Once she got home, she walked up to the front door and realized she had left her purse with her keys in it in her friend's car. Not a big deal, because a friend that drove only lived a few blocks away. Tanya began running to her friend's house and was never seen alive again. Tanya would be found the next morning in a bush just 2 blocks from her house. News spread fast in this small town feel-like community. This was the first homicide in this area in over 30 years. Once police arrived on the scene, they determined that Tanya had been killed. She was partially clothed and had dirt on her back and legs. Tanya was found in the face-down position in the bushes. She was missing 1 stocking and her shoes. 1 stocking had been tied around her neck. Through further investigation, it was determined that Tanya had been dragged 30 feet to the bushes. There were no signs of sexual assault. The cause of death was strangulation, but not by the stocking, by hands. This was determined because she had bruising around her neck from hands, and the stocking appeared to be tied on as an afterthought. Her time of death was between midnight and 2 a.m. Her second stocking and shoes were found nearby. During the investigation, the police interviewed over 1,000 people, and 150 people gave helpful information to them. One of the neighbors reported that while he was watching TV late that night, he saw Tanya run past his house. He said she didn't look like she was scared or anything, just running. The police also noted that the bouquet that Tanya had caught was by the front door of her home. 4 days after the murder of Tanya, articles were published in the town newspaper. One article was asking for any information related to Tanya's death and that they had a person of interest. The second article in the paper was about a missing man from the Logan area. His wife had reported him missing. He had told her he was going to go into the Logan Canyon to find bait for an upcoming fishing trip that her husband had planned with their 2 sons. This man disappeared 2 days after Tanya was found. These 2 articles were side by side in the newspaper. No names were mentioned in either article. Both were talking about the same person. Owen Hodges Kimball was a 26-year-old man who was married and had 2 sons. A truck had been found in heavy brush at the end of Spring Hollow in the canyon. Police arrived and found Kimball dead. Kimball had stuffed material into his truck's tailpipe, and his death was ruled as a suicide. Kimball was already the person of interest, and once they found him, they were able to connect him to the area of where Tanya was found by a shoe print and clothing fibers. Kimball's family and friends stated that there was no way he was capable of killing anyone. Tanya's family was glad that the killer was identified and hopeful for the case to be closed. Unfortunately, the case would still be listed as unsolved due to not having enough evidence to connect Kimball to Tanya's murder. Rhonda, Tanya's sister, remembers how her family found out. The police showed up at the family reunion and asked to speak to her parents outside. The kids weren't able to go outside but found out once their parents came back in. Rhonda was only 14 at the time, and she said her sister's unsolved murder was like a dark shadow over the family. There wasn't counseling at that time, so the family had to deal with the loss, the grief, and the anger themselves. Rhonda had so many questions and couldn't get the answers to those questions. She decided to go to the police department in the 90s. She had requested any information on her sister's case. The Logan Police Department explained that they didn't have any records on her sister's case. All older cases, including all documents in those cases, were sent to Ogden, which is 50 miles south of Logan. Rhonda had contacted the Ogden Records Department, and after all of the searching, she got back one report. That's it. Her sister's case was wrapped up in one single piece of paper. After some time, the Logan Police Department contacted Rhonda and told her that they had actually found boxes of documents that pertained to all of the people they had interviewed during the investigation. Rhonda had said that she appreciated the call but was not ready to pick up those boxes. Tanya's case would be closed and reopened several times. No new information was released. It wouldn't be until 2022 when Tanya's case would be reopened for the last time. The Logan Police Department had applied for and received funding from the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative grant. This grant allowed the police department the funds to send the evidence to the Utah State Crime Lab. There, they would run advanced DNA analysis on the clothing Tanya was wearing that night. It was determined that there was a mixture of several male DNA on her sweater. Side note, there was no sign of SA, so what does that mean? Well, Tanya was at a wedding earlier that day. She was probably hugging friends and family, dancing with friends and family, the killer's DNA, and also there could be additional touch DNA from the police officers who were investigating the case. At this time, because of the small town, gloves might not have been part of the protocol. Another side note, latex gloves were invented in the 1890s. However, the medical-grade latex gloves were not created until the 1960s. And last side note, police weren't wearing gloves until 1924. The case that started it all was the murder of Emily Kay. Tune in at a later date when we dive into that one. Police would be granted an order of exhumation for the body of Kimball. On November 2nd, 2023, His body was exhumed and a bone and muscle tissue sample were collected. The DNA was a match to samples found on Tanya's sweater. On June 26, 2024, 59 years later, Tanya's killer was officially named. Her family could find some peace in knowing the case was solved and Tanya's case could be officially closed. Now, the reasons why still roll around in everyone's mind. Both families live pretty close to one another. No known motive because Tanya and her killer are both dead. Was she approached in a manner that she didn't feel threatened since there wasn't any sign of a struggle? The main theory is that Kimball was known for being a peeping Tom. So the theory is that Kimball was stalking Tanya. Police had evidence of letters or notes that Kimball had written Tanya's name on, and he also had a picture of her. The picture was circled. The police think that it is possible Kimball was stalking Tanya, and when he approached her, something happened, and it then escalated to where Kimball had killed her. Maybe she didn't reciprocate his feelings and told him to leave her alone. Maybe she said she would tell his wife. Kimball would then feel so guilty that he killed someone he cared for and committed suicide.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think she knew him. I mean, obviously they lived pretty close together. I mean, not together, but they lived close to one another.
Mm-hmm.
So she probably knew that he had a wife and two boys.
Didn't think he was a threat, probably.
Yeah. But if the town knew that he was, or if he was known as a peeping Tom, were there like police reports on that? I didn't see, but also it's from the 60s, so I couldn't find any.
Yeah, they might have not actually written down anything.
Yeah. But the information for him having notes with her name on them and then her picture in his possession, definitely, like, that's where my mind would go to, is that he was definitely stalking her.
Became obsessed with her.
Yeah.
It's weird to me that there was no SA, though, if he was stalking her and was a peeping Tom.
Yeah. I thought that too. I mean, that's one good thing.
That it didn't happen.
Yeah, that it didn't happen. And I don't know what made him tie the stocking around her throat. Like, after he had killed her, I don't know if it was...
Yeah.
He didn't want her... Maybe he didn't want her skin to show the bruising. When whoever found her, like, he didn't want it to show damage to her skin or something. I don't know. I don't know how,
That's one of the questions I wrote down. That's pretty much... It's the only question I wrote down, is stalking cover-up. It's like, I know how some people will kill someone and then they feel remorse, so they have to cover up the body.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe he felt something to where he felt he needed to cover up those marks.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's what I assume happened.
Yeah.
It was to cover up what he did.
There was no sign of any SA, but her stockings and shoes were off. So I don't know if he took those off after he strangled her. And she was dragged 30 feet. So they could see the marks of where she was dragged. Plus she was dragged from, like, because of all the dirt on her backside, and then she was turned face down into the dirt in the bush. So,
which could be another thing of trying to cover up, like flipping it over so you're not looking at her face. What if he tried to, like, talk to her and something went wrong, and then he maybe was trying to SA her, and then he ended up killing her, and then he lost the motive to... Yeah. This is so fucking gross. Yeah. But that's where my head is kind of going. Yeah. I don't even want to think about that, but... Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was attempting to do, and then she just wasn't wanting to hear whatever it was he had to say, so then he...
took it too far and
ended up killing her.
Yeah, I don't know. That was pretty much my one my one thought was.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I had, like, the whole time I was researching this. It's just, like, it's so weird. Like, the stalking was, and it wasn't even, like, from the descriptions that I've seen, it wasn't tied, like, super tight. It was just tied to, like, cover it up. Yeah. So that's why the theory that the police have definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
But I always wonder if there's more.
Was she found close to her destination, or was she like?
So her
friend's house.
Friend's house was. It says it was a few blocks away, so I'm assuming maybe she was like 1 or 2 blocks from her friend's house.
Okay, and then he probably approached her, and then whatever happened, and then he dragged her.
Yeah.
That's what I would assume.
That's what I assume too.
And I'm assuming he lived in that blockage also.
Yeah. And also, like, so was he driving around at that time? Was he walking around at that time?
Was he stalking her at that time?
And that's why he knew where she was, because he was stalking her.
Yeah. It just sucks at that time. You didn't have cell phones. So you couldn't just, like, call or text your friend, like, hey, you're probably not all the way home yet. Can you just turn around and give me your keys?
Right.
This one was kind of like a open and shut case, even though it wasn't actually open and shut.
Right. Like
eventually.
59. Yeah, 59 years.
That's crazy that there was only one report on her.
Yeah, 1-page document, when clearly there was more information because the police department found. I can definitely state that it's very possible that the documents were put somewhere and they weren't labeled correctly, or they were put on a list to be taken to Ogden.
Misplaced.
Yeah, so they thought they were in Ogden, and then they were, I don't know, dusting or looking for something else, and then, like, what the heck? There's 7 boxes that say this person's name on them. So it's very possible.
Yeah, getting all mixed up and stuff. Our hearts go out to the victims in both cases and all the individuals affected. With that, that is all we have for today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can find us on Spotify and Instagram at GirlsGoneCuriousPodcast. Until next time.